Ram, Siya Ram.
सारे प्राणी एक बिंदु के अलग अलग बसना, जीवन के पथ में ना जाने कौन आ जाएगा, जीवन के पथ में ना जाने कौन आ जाएगा। सबसे निभाता चल, सबको रिझाता चल, सबसे निभाता चल, सबको रिझाता चल, मिल जाएंगे राम, राम नाम का अलख जगाता चल, मिल जाएंगे राम, राम धुन गाता चल, राम धुन गाता चल, राम धुन गाता चल, राम धुन गाता चल।
Ram, Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Siya Ram.
Sahanam bhavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, saha viryam karavavahai, tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We have studied so far what happens to an individual desire. How a desire changes its form, then you can't recognize it as a desire. For instance, in there's crime, or there's jealousy, or there's I don't know, some delusion that we are in. We don't recognize it as a desire. It's changed its form. When we say desire, it sounds very simple, but in the Vedantic concept construct, that whole metamorphosis, all of it is called desire. So it just seems to us very simple. I want this, I don't want it. No, the whole range, even if it's anger, it's still desire. If it is greed, it is still desire. Whole lot of it. Now we studied that one streak, one desire, and what happens. But none of us, neither you nor I, have one desire, right? We have plenty of desires. So all these various desires are in various stages. Somebody's at a desire, somebody's in anger, some desire is in jealousy, some desire is in delusion, various stages. Now, what happens when all these various things interact with one another? It's not like there's one stream in my head, right? There are all these multiple streams in my head. And they're not just going as individual, neat individual streams. They're all sing sang going on there inside. All of it is colliding and merging and separating from one another. So that's what we're going to study now. Watch the desires, how they tangle. You know, have you seen manja? You all know manja, right? Everybody knows manja. That how that manja gets. Tisha, you know manja?
No.
No? Okay, so over here there is a big festival called Sankrant. In Mumbai, at least, I don't know the rest of the country what happens, but in Mumbai, it's a major festival, and uh, everybody's like out on their terraces and balconies flying these kites. Now the kites, okay, so everybody's out there. The whole sky is full of kites. Now each individual kite string is called a manja. Now you have to quickly pull it, pull it, pull it, pull it, pull it. It's usually on that reel, but when you pull it, pull it, pull it, pull it, it's all like on the ground, and it all gets tangled. And this string is a peculiar string because it's coated with, you know what? Anyone knows?
Glass, I think.
Yeah, glass pieces. So by trying to untangle that thing, you know, all the children have cards and all of that, and it's a matter of pride. How many cuts did you get like that? It's actually pretty dangerous. All these sports are, but I guess all the sports are dangerous in their own way. So they cut their fingers. All children have cut their fingers on this thing. So now that's exactly the state with our desires. All that manja is there, that kite string, and it's cutting us, and we don't understand it. So watch how they tangle. Desires are complex, they intermingle and collide, and thus the frequent relationship status. It's complicated. See, in an earlier, more innocent time, they said, "Are you married?" How many answers did you have to that question? You had two answers: yes, no. But now you can't answer this question, are you married? No. So therefore, Facebook made it simple. They say it's complicated. Means in some sense I am, in some sense I'm not. Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. Some days he's irritated the hell out of me and I refuse to call him my husband, whatever. So many complications. So that's the status. It's complicated. The fulfillment of desires leaves us unfulfilled because the desires are not always simple to fathom. You say, what is spiritual growth? Spiritual growth is reduction of desires. When we say reduction of desires, everybody says, I tell you, reduce desires. Then what is everybody's view on this? Why are you all in behind parda? Mahesh also is no thank you, correct. But why do you say no thank you to reduction of desires? If I tell you, you have a desire, just reduce it. So then you're not interested in that. Nobody's interested, not just you. Yeah, we love our desires. Why would you not want to give your desire up?
We believe it will take the happiness away.
Yeah, we believe we'll be so bored, we won't be happy. And removing desires is such a complicated process, according to us. So difficult, so complicated. You don't want to put in so much effort at spiritual growth and all, Baba, too much. Let's just enjoy our lives. We feel like what we don't understand is, and that's where the real tragedy lies. Actually, spiritual growth is easier than fulfillment of desires in one sense, which is that you put in tremendous work, at least you get something out of it. But when you go to fulfill your desires, you put in tremendous work and you get nothing out of it. Nothing out of it means you'll say, oh, what nonsense. I fulfill my desires and see now I have a nice house and I have a nice car and I have a nice family. But you're still here, right? You're still searching, right? And don't say that, oh, but those people are not here and so they are not searching. No, Baba. They have not still found out. You have found out that there is something missing in the story. They have still not found out. Wait a little longer, they will also be here. Because everybody will want to know what happened. So let us know that initially only what will happen. Our desire metamorphizes into all these things that we have seen. Then all these various desires in various stages of metamorphosis intermingle and collide. It's really not so much more difficult to attempt to reduce them. It's really not so much more difficult. This whole process is complicated. And that is why, the tribe of psychologists and counselors and whatnot is ever increasing. Because we all need help. We need to figure this thing out. The fulfillment of desires leaves us unfulfilled because the desires are not always simple to fathom. This is how complicated it is. A man finally gains the accolades that he had worked hard for. Right? So you work very hard, you got your accolades, you got your success, you got all the praise and adulation you looked for. But by then, his father, whom he had wanted to impress, has expired. So he feels an emptiness because his father appreciating the success was part of his desire. See, sometimes you want something, you just don't want that thing. You want somebody else to know that you have that thing, some particular person. And for whatever reason, that person now he is gone. We cannot know it. So it seems a bit. A lady wants a diamond ring. But does she want a diamond ring alone? No. She also wants her husband to care enough to find out that she wants it and then struggle to procure the right one. She also wants him to understand her perfectly and not judge her fancy. She also wants him to be proud. She also wants him to be proud of her wearing it. Suppose he does all this, but one day she's worn it and he doesn't notice. Again gone. It turns out not to be so simple after all. That is why it is so difficult for people to tell their loved ones what they want. They expect that the other should be sensitive enough to know. It is seen as a dipstick of the other's love. But it is confusing to the partner. It's only the individual knows which aspects are involved in their desire. Often the partner in frustration asks, "What do you want?" Like, "Okay, what do you want?" "I want a diamond ring." So he gets her a diamond ring. But it's not okay. So, what do you want? The original desire can get very tangled. And the husband who bought his wife that ring is bewildered that she is not satisfied with it. She may also not know. It's not like he doesn't know alone. She also doesn't know. He concludes she is never satisfied and gives up trying to please him. She feels guilty, but also hurt and angry. In her frustration, she complains. Others also join the fray. Unnecessarily, people start having a view on this. What is she complaining about? She got her diamond ring. And other people will start giving their own comments on this whole thing. People start taking sides between the couple. Matters just deteriorate. Maybe when he was confused about her displeasure, it would have helped had he probed lovingly and quietly as to what the matter was. Seeking to understand is always a good first step. Whenever you find somebody is dissatisfied with you, do you actually ever sit down to find out why? If somebody is dissatisfied with us, what do we tend to do? What's the most common reaction to somebody being dissatisfied with anything I do, with me, with anything I do? What's the most
Get
common?
angry.
You get angry. You get defensive. You start proving how you're right. All these things we end up doing. It's not going to help the situation. Somebody's unhappy with us, we say, "No, why are you unhappy with me? I did X and Y and Z with you, for you, and I'm so good, and I've done this, and I am this." So what should we do if somebody is dissatisfied with us? At least ask the question.
Try finding out.
Try finding out what's troubling you. See, when we are in the position of the dissatisfied party, we want the other person to find out, no, from us, कि क्या हुआ भाई, क्यों ऐसे behave कर रहे हो? What happened to you? Why are you behaving like? We want other people to do this for us, but we don't want to do it for anyone. What happened? Let me understand what happened. 9 out of 10 times, I don't want to understand what happened. What I want to do is prove I'm right. Somehow I must prove I'm right. If you're dissatisfied with me, you're wrong. If I'm dissatisfied with you, who's wrong?
Still you're wrong.
You're
The
wrong.
other person.
Always. Both ways you're wrong. It's an incredible thing. How we will always prove the bottom line is I am right. Whether, whatever the situation, I am right. Now talk. That's not how human relationships are made. They are made by saying, what happened? What's happening here? So now you may say, anyway, analyze this further. So why don't we do that? Why don't we ask another person? What happened? Why are you angry with me? Why won't we ask this question? We'll analyze further. Let's see. Come, Mahesh.
Maybe we're afraid to hear the answer.
Okay, let's see. The possibility. Maybe when he was confused about her displeasure, it would have helped had he probed lovingly and quietly as to what the matter was. Seeking to understand is always a good first step. As she herself may not know, it may take some effort by the couple to understand the mechanism. They could strive to figure things out for themselves without judgment and with the hope of regaining harmony. She could also try to understand herself. So either they can both do it, or she herself can do it, or they could seek help. Human desires are frequently complex. And often, from one object, many desires are sought to be satisfied. Like buying a Porsche. It's not only about owning a car, but also seeing it as a symbol of success, as something for others to admire, of announcing, I have arrived. In advertising campaigns, especially runaway successes, notice how the product is positioned to trigger so many desires, hopes, ambitions, fears, grudges, instincts, etc. A good store salesman can sell any product with his ability to play upon this. Listen to what he tells you. When selling a garment, he talks of how well it suits you, how it looks more expensive than it is, how you stand out, what your spouse would say. That one poor garment has suddenly become the repository of 100 hopes. See, what we put into that, all our dreams, hopes, ambitions are in that garment. Like Helen, it could launch 1,000 ships and burn the topless towers of Ilion. When you wear it, see yourself preening. It is no longer a piece of cloth. It is the fulfillment of complicated desire. And hence it becomes imperative to get it. For all is dross that is not Helena. So I don't know if you're familiar with the story of Dr. Faustus. He's in love with Helen. You know Helen of Troy. Now he's not even in that era, but he's still in love with her. So yeah, Helen, you're familiar, all right? Helen was the world's most beautiful woman, and hers was the face that launched 1,000 ships and burned the topless towers of Ilium. Ilium is Troy. You know what happened? So Helen was a Greek princess. I sure you've all probably seen the movie, right? I don't know whether. So there's a Greek princess, and she was kidnapped or she ran away with the prince from Troy. So the Greek armada set out. How dare they take? Now the husband of this young girl was okay. If she wants to go, let her go. Because he was reasonably okay with it. He didn't have that much of a problem as the rest of the Greek forces had. So their whole armada set off to Troy and started this massive war. And as you know, many heroes died in that war. Hector was slain, Achilles was slain. I mean, many of the great heroes died in it. And finally, after many years of battle, they managed to destroy Troy and take Helena and go back. Now, when she came back, her husband said, okay. And they both lived happily afterwards. These fellows are all dead and all, big drama they are doing. Now, this is the story. And she was supposed to be so beautiful. Therefore, the Greeks did not want to lose her. And this Faustus, he sold his. Faustus is at a different era, no part of the original story. He sold his soul to the devil, meaning he's basically a little delusional and hallucinating and all. He's in love with that Helen. From that time, he is not from that time. And he loves her so much. And he cannot think of anything else. So he says these famous lines: all is dross that is not Helena. If it is not Helen, I'm not interested in it. If you read it in another way, then it expresses a spiritual person's quest. If it is not Brahman, I'm not interested in it. All is dross that is not Helena. Was this the face? Faustus is talking, okay? So he's imagining Helena and saying, was this the face that launched 1,000 ships and burnt the topless stars of Ilium? Sweet Helen, make me an immortal with a kiss. Her lips suck forth my soul. See where it flies. Come, Helen, give me my soul again. And here will I dwell, for heaven is in these lips, and all is dross that is not Helen. All is dross that is not heaven. Remember, when you are madly in love with anything, it could be a human being, it could be reputation, it could be your work, when you're madly in love, all is dross that is not Helena. If it is not that thing, every other thing in this world is tasteless, insipid, boring. If we identify our hopes and desires, at least we need not be led down the primrose path. At least let us identify our desires. At least itna to kar le. Then what will happen? We can consciously cater to our desires in sensible ways instead of taking regrettable decisions. We need not be triggered from outside. We need not have our buttons pushed without our knowledge. You know how this happens? How can people trigger us? How do your buttons get pushed like? It's because you haven't dealt with the desire yourself. So other people are now, fiddling around with it. Not have your buttons pushed without your knowledge. We can satisfy our minds in more appropriate and less damaging ways. So how do we deal with our desires? The usual way is either frustrate them or indulge them. The more lasting and fulfilling way is to increase our wisdom. That is gaining the knowledge of the self. Okay, so the portion about how these desires get entangled and confused within themselves, and how, because we are not dealing with our desires ourselves, we are getting other people are able to push our buttons. So we must consciously untangle these various streams within us and figure out what is there. And having figured it out, you need to deal with it so that you can find a satisfaction in your heart. And this is done by gaining the knowledge of the higher. But this we don't do, so we have two options. What are the two options you have? Suppose you have a desire. Okay, I want to buy a car. Now, what can you do if you have this desire? You have two options, right? What are your two options?
Suppress it or cater to it.
Suppress it or cater to it. Only two things. I want to buy a car. What can I do? I either go buy a car or what happened? Are you all asleep? What happened? I either buy a car or
Don't buy.
Suppress it.
don't buy a car. Why? It's not so complicated that you all are looking at me as if I don't know what I just pulled out of a hat. Right? You have only two options. I want to eat an ice cream. Now, what are my two options?
Eat or don't eat.
Eat or don't eat. Only two options. Vedanta says both are wrong. That then you're left in a big problem. If my only two options are eat or don't eat, and both you're rejecting, ab main kya karoon? What am I supposed to do now? Because there are only two things possible. I can either eat it or not eat it. Right? Are you all sufficiently confused? You're all looking at me as if I don't know what is going on.
But then there aren't two options, right? There is a third option.
There is a third option, but that is never a that's never an evident option, right? Nobody thinks of it. If you have a desire, you want to buy a flat. So you have two things. I have the money, so I'll buy whichever flat I want. Or I don't have the money and, oh, so sad for me, I cannot buy this flat. That's all I can think. And because that's all I think, that's why all my problems exist in my life. Let me see now what is here. Yes, the third option is sublimated, but Anvesh, but that's easier said than done. I mean, in the sense we have to understand what that means. So the next topic is talking about that. Okay, all together up to this point. Anybody is having a problem up to this point? Desire and wisdom. All agitations result from desire. Please underline this line and remember it forever and after. Oh, what is this? Joyce, I missed things. Some people claim that when we let go of a desire, it is realized. Is there any truth behind this claim? Yes, it's true. But don't say some people claim, because that is what creates the problem philosophically. If you're going to quote somebody, then you say so and so in such and such a book on page such and such said this. Then you can quote. Otherwise, you say just the thing that is it when we let go of a desire, do you obtain the object? That's just a question in itself.
Yes, this is the question I meant to ask.
Yes. So yes, I know that's what that's the question you meant to ask. But
Properly.
we have to get out of the habit of so and so said such and such, you know.
Okay.
So when we let go of a desire, we do obtain the object of desire if we understand the whole situation. When I get obsessed with my desire, when I'm like craving and wanting and hoping and desiring to get something, I'm agitating myself. So when I say, okay, never mind, forget about it, what is it I need to do? And I just very calmly and properly start doing what needs to be done, the object will come to me. As soon as I deserve it, it will be there. But if I keep daydreaming about it and wanting it, and craving it, getting all agitated about it, my actions go wrong. And when my actions go wrong, I push the fruit further away.
Mm. When we want it in an obsessive way, we get so agitated that we kind of jeopardize the chances for it to happen.
Yes.
All right.
Or you can put it more technically and say, when my mind is too agitated, my intellect cannot think,
Mm-hmm.
and therefore I cannot function properly.
So it's not just the simple fact of thinking, all right, I'm just letting go. If it happens, fine. If it doesn't happen, fine. I'm fine with either outcome. Uh, this is not the way. It's not what makes it happen. No. Okay.
Yeah. You can't just say, okay, if it happens, it happens.
Yeah.
Nothing happens unless you work for it.
So it's not the fact of letting go, of saying, it's fine, whatever happens is fine by me. It's the fact that I'm not obsessing and I'm not so agitated with it that will make it happen. All right.
And I'm doing the work. I'm putting all the causes in position. Then the effect will come.
Okay. Yes, it makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Mahesh? All agitations result from desires. This is a law. This is a fact of life. Neither you nor I nor anybody in this world can change it. All agitations result from desires. Desires are the sole cause of agitation. But where do desires arise? From where do desires arise? They crop up because of the absence of wisdom, from the ignorance of the self. Now, we can go so far as to think that all agitations come from desire. Everybody agrees with this? Does anybody disagree with it? All agitations come from desire. Correct? Think about it. Think of a time when you've been agitated about anything. Okay? Can you think of a single instance of an agitation without a desire?
It's like some sort of pure evil or injustice happened to you,
Okay.
which is like, it's not like it's blocking some desire of yours. It's just that something terrible happened to you, which you didn't deserve at all. And that
All right. Give an
scares you.
example. Just give some example.
Let's say that, I mean, there's a car accident. I mean, like somebody hits your car from behind and you had nothing, like there was no, you're just going along your merry way and then somebody hits you pretty bad. And then you might have some health problem because of it. So
whose car is it which is hit?
your car is hit from behind,
Whose health problem?
yours.
Then how can you say there's no desire? Did you want a health problem? Did you want a damaged car? Did you not want to have an undamaged car? Did you not want to have a healthy life?
But the contrary is that, I mean, the argument is that you never asked for this. It's just completely, I mean, why shouldn't you have just a normal, healthy life? Why should it be encroached upon? It's not like you actively want, I mean, it's like by default kind of, right? Like we want our physical dignity or like, the bodily.
I hope you're noticing what you're saying. We want our physical dignity. I hope you're hearing it. Want is another word for.
But it is a desire, but shouldn't it be default? Like why should we be feeling that we can be under some sort of problem can come to us and it's okay. or something like that.
Whether it's a default desire or not is not the point. The point is that has to be a desire. You can't say that I have a desire, therefore I have the right to it. Then so many people have a desire for food, they are not getting it. So many people have a desire to live a war-free life, they're not getting it. There is no law that says all your desires have to be fulfilled. But the fact is there cannot be agitation without desire. Or you can think, anybody in the class can think. Can you think of a single instance where you have an agitation, you or anyone has an agitation, but there's no desire? You might say my desire is justified or not justified. That's immaterial. There has to be a desire. See, Buddha's wife could be very unhappy that Buddha or Siddhartha left her. So why is she so unhappy that Siddhartha left her? Because she wants her husband to stay with her. Simple. Now, other people, 5,000 years later, okay, women today who are not Buddha's wives, okay, 5,000 years ago, he left his wife. Today, women are getting irritated. How did Siddhartha leave his wife? Very wrong of him. Why do they say that? Because
They have a desire
yeah, what is their desire?
that their husband should not leave.
That their husband should not leave. So they think, my God, suppose my husband learns from Buddha and leaves. So they are very angry with Buddha now. But Buddha left his wife or not, so mera kya jata hai? Because it's not, it is to do with me. I am getting angry. I'm getting angry because it's my decision. Otherwise, there's no way I'm going to get angry.
But Janki ji,
Mhm.
there are certain other incidents which are not related to us directly, like the rape case that happened in Calcutta a few months before. Why that girl was raped and brutally murdered? Why that is disturbing us so much?
Because it is interfering with our desire, no? Our desire for safety, our desire for women's safety, our desire, Bharat says, our desire for justice. Yeah, it could be anything, right from selfish, self-centered desire to noble desire. But unless there's a desire, there cannot be an agitation.
That means we have to be very insensitive, not to get agitated.
No, what to do about it, don't go. First, we're only establishing one truth, one law of life.
Okay.
That no desire, no agitation. Agitation means there is a desire. Bas.
Okay.
Don't conclude anything. Don't go further.
Okay.
We are coming to going further, we will do, but at least go step by step. All agitations come from desire. That's it. There's nothing, no conclusions to be drawn from it as yet.
Correct.
Shilpa, are you new to class? I think I've seen you for the first time, or you just never switched your video on. If you're saying something, you're muted, so I can't hear you. You're muted, you need to unmute yourself. MP also. MP, are you new? And iPhone 882437. Shilpa, you're new? Are you able to? The only reason I ask is, it's a continuous class, so I don't know whether you all are on the same page as us. So if you have any issues, please feel free to ask. Oops, Shilpa, Jani, you've come in again. Oops, there are two of you, Shilpa, now.
Okay. There was some issue with my settings of microphone, so I had to re-log in.
Okay.
So yes, I'm new, ma'am, and I attended the last Gita 5-day session
okay.
and from there I connected to this. So I'm glad I joined. Yeah, thank you so much. I just wanted to, I mean, from your point, while I understand that, you're saying desire. So, for example, if somebody's not spoken, or has been rude to you, right? And there is one side of you which says that, okay, if this person would have said that, I could have given, this kind of a feedback. But then other side of you says that, okay, I need not behave like that. But then there is this agitation internally, which goes on saying that I was I mean, somebody was unfair to me, and I did not respond to that. And that's the internal agitation. So I think the desire here would be fairness. I'm not sure if that's
Yeah.
right.
Could be, yes. Could be, yeah, I was treated unfairly. I ought not to be treated unfairly. Could be fairness, the desire for fairness, the desire for love, because you're being rude to me, you're not being loving to me.
Right.
I want the whole world to love me, and you're stupid enough not to love me. How dare you not love me? So it could
Okay.
be anything.
Right. So that's what we say desire when we say, okay, what disturbs us, kind of, right?
Yes. What is that?
Okay.
Why is that statement disturbing? See, suppose somebody is rude to Buddha. Buddha is not disturbed because
Right.
he doesn't want reputation, he doesn't want love, he doesn't want all these things.
Sure.
So you cannot pull his trigger. You cannot make him do anything.
Sure.
How
Got
will
it.
you make him do it?
I get it. Thank you so much.
What about MP? MP, are you new?
Ma'am, I have attended some of the classes, though not all the classes, and I'm trying to actually understand the concepts.
Okay, great. Welcome. It's all clear, or you have a question?
Yeah, sort of. But yeah, I'm sure there will be a lot more questions in future because everything is not going to be clear right away. But yeah, I'm trying.
Yeah, that's why look, we have live classes, right? Otherwise, you could just
Yeah,
So
correct.
you know which book? I don't know if you both know. You're doing this book.
Okay, ma'am.
All right. So an iPhone 882437. Are you also new, or have you just not put your name today? If you're saying something, I can't. You're muted, so I can't hear you. So is this point well established? Agitation can only come through desire. Do not conclude anything from this. Don't say, so therefore I should do X, Y, Z. Yes? All agitations come from desire. Simple. Yeah, Bharat?
On the next point, Janki, desires arise because of ignorance of the self. So one may be an atheist and have perfect assessment and understanding of the environment you are in, the people you're dealing with. And that may also not arise desire in the sense one may be in control of the situation. So how do we explain that?
There is no desire being interrupted. Just because you're an atheist doesn't mean you have so many desires. It is the imagine there's a graph, right? So you have fewer and fewer desires, right? And as you grow spiritually, your desires have come down. Imagine they're inversely proportional, right? So you have, I don't know, you have 25% desires. So you're 75% free of the world. So 75% of the time, you will not react to anything. But you still have this 25%. You have something, that's why you're an atheist, right? So otherwise, you won't be an atheist. You will be what will you be? You have no desires.
Self-realized.
Self-realized person. But you're not a self-realized person. You're an atheist, right? So you're an atheist, so you have some desire. Now, 75% of the time, you're just fine because you don't have a desire. But let something happen in this 25%, and you will behave like everybody else. It's got nothing to do with whether you're an atheist or a theist. You could be a theist You could be a believer in God. But your desires are 80% desires you have. That means only 20% of the time you'll keep your calm. So it's nothing to do with whether you believe in God or not. It is to do with what is your level of desires. So whatever level is there, when that is interrupted, all hell breaks loose.
So, the level of desires and also how that level is, right?
How?
How strong that level is, how strong those desires are embedded.
You don't need to bring in the concept of strength of desire here, because if you're at 75% of spiritual development and you have 25% of desires left, strong or weak, the result will be the same. And if you have 25% desires and you have no higher ideal, any one of those can become strong and overtake your personality. Strength is a matter of what you're doing with the desire at that point. If you choose to not treat it well, it will get stronger and stronger. If you don't handle your desires well, any desire can become strong and throw you off.
Yes, true. Thank you.
Mahesh, do unmanifest desires, i.e. vasanas, also cause agitations? Mahesh, think this thing through. Do unmanifest desires, that is vasanas, also cause agitations? When only vasanas are in existence, what state are you in?
Deep sleep.
Are there any agitations? You already know all these answers.
So it's correct to say manifest desires cause agitation, right?
Unless it's manifest, it's not called a desire. Remember, if it's unmanifest, it's called
Vasana, no?
correct. So you don't need to say manifest desires. In fact, the term manifest desire philosophically means, what is a manifestation of desire?
Vasana behind it.
No, manifestation of desire.
Action.
Desire. Very good. Action. Manifestation of vasana is desire. Manifestation of desire is action. Manifest means what? It's expressing. So when a desire expresses, how does it express? It expresses as some action. It could be you said something, or you did something, or you ran away from somewhere. It has to be some form of action. So a manifested desire, technically speaking, is an action.
Now, the reason I asked was this, we should ask, say you had an accident from someone hitting you with your car. I mean, the desire that your car be safe was unmanifest till that accident happened, and then it became manifest, and that's how it. So I mean, it wasn't manifest at the time of the accident, and so it became manifest at that time, and therefore you have agitations. Is that correct?
Correct.
Unmanifest. So I
So
mean,
that answers your question, no?
no,
As long
technically,
as the
is the unmanifest desire which caused the.
As long as the desire was unmanifest, no agitation. The moment it manifested, agitation.
Right, but what I meant was that there was an unmanifest desire that your car not be harmed.
I got what you mean. You figure this out in your head. What you're saying is the obvious thing, but figure this out. As long as the desire was not manifest, I want my car to be safe. But that desire is not agitating me. Why? Because it's unmanifest. But if something happens by which that desire comes up, I'll be agitated. Therefore, it doesn't mean only when an accident happens to my car. I read in the newspaper about reckless driving or drunken driving, I will get agitated. Nothing has happened to me, but my desire is manifested.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, if you remember when you study chapter 15 of the Bhagavad Gita, now that you have been doing this for some time, can you tell me the line that will express your question? I mean, express the response to your question. The question which I'm not letting you ask. See, I'll tell you, everyone gets what Mahesh is trying to say. He is saying my agitation came when the car hit my car. I had no agitation before that. So the cause of my agitation is my car getting hit. This is an unworded part of his question. And everybody will buy your theory. But Mahesh, you tell me in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, where does it refer to this phenomenon? All senior students can respond.
Which verse you mean?
No, you can tell me concept. I don't really expect people to remember numbers. Which verse? Say the line of the verse. All senior students, the question is open to you. Bharat, Surekha, Nilofar, Deepak, who else is here? Elsie, Taruna. Who else? Did I count anybody? Everybody? I don't know.
You said
Right?
Deepak, not Deepraj. You said Deepak.
Yeah, Deepak Sethi.
Oh, Deepraj is also there, I think.
Where is Deepraj? He's not
Oh,
there.
he's left. Okay.
But Deepraj is not technically, he's just a dedicated and sincere and studying hard student. Technically, he's not as old as all you guys. You all are all the oldie goldies in the class. Remember, shall I tell you? The sense objects are its buds. Urdhva madhashakam ashwatham prahuravyayam chandansi yasya parnani. People remember anything? Everything has gone so many times over. Very, very tragic. Okay, so for all those who are new to the class, there is chapter 15 of the Bhagavad Gita that gives a beautiful word painting of our life here on earth. It gives this imagery. It's the most difficult chapter. It's only 20, it's the smallest chapter and most difficult chapter, because suddenly it starts talking about a tree. Just a tree. Urdhva Mula Madhasha. Urdhva Mula means the roots are above. He starts like that there is a tree, its roots are above and its branches are in this world. It's quite a difficult chapter, because it does all these very poetical expressions. So in this tree, so many things. He says in this tree, this is this, this is this, this is this. Parnani, its wing, leaves, whatever. It gives all this stuff about this tree. And the very interesting thing, which is of note over here, is its buds are the sense objects. A very, very interesting thing. It makes no sense. If you read it by itself, it'll make no sense. Do you remember this concept? Its buds are the sense objects. Do any of y'all remember what that means? You people think we won't give exams in this class, and y'all are all relaxing and taking life easy. But exams come. Who remembers buds are its sense objects? So this tree is supposed to represent the world. It says this of the tree is this of the tree is this. So its buds are sense objects. Remember what a buds are sense objects means? ऐसे नहीं करो, please. You people are All the new students
It's
will
the
think that
beginning.
huh?
It's the beginning when our sense objects actually create the desires, the beginning of the desires, which then grows up to become, the branches and the leaves and
Except it's not the beginning. Remember, the root is that beginning.
root is the beginning, but the manifestation, the beginning of the manifestation.
Yeah. So, in other words, very good. They're somewhere close at least. So, the buds are the sense objects means that in the presence of a conducive environment, your desires come up. All of us have desires. At the moment, is anybody's desire playing? Nobody's desires are playing. But when you go to the mall, all the desires will come out. That means our desires express themselves in the presence of a conducive environment. Mahesh, are you still with me?
Yes.
So, when your car is hit by another car, it's a conducive environment for the desire for the safety of your property and possessions to come up. In the presence of a conducive environment, the desire comes up. Latent desires come to the forefront in the presence of a conducive environment. Otherwise, they don't come. You think you're not competitive. You start playing a sport and see what happens. All competition will come up. You think you don't care about clothes. Go into a place where everybody is extremely well dressed. It will come up. So, in the presence of a conducive environment, the desire starts manifesting. So the right word, Surekha, is manifesting, not beginning. Desire is already there, but it manifests in the presence of a conducive environment. So now are you clear, Mahesh?
Yeah, and conducive environment is not a cause effect, right? Because otherwise, how can the
Because
gross affect the subtle?
Of course, because every desire doesn't require a conducive environment. Isn't it? Suppose you have a very strong desire, it will come up even when there's no conducive environment. Like most people will drink when their friends are drinking, conducive environment. But if you are like a alcoholic, you will drink even if nobody else is drinking. Not just drink, you will think of drinking.
Okay, thank you.
Taruna?
I guess Fantastic. When Bharat asked, my question is in continuation. So you said there are a person who is at the growth level of 80% and he has 20% desire left. But if he is not having a goal, any desire can get stronger. So will that 80% not help, or will it allow the 20% not to get stronger?
How can you say it's, think about it. I'm a child. I love to play with toys. I grow up to become a teenager. The toy world is not disturbing me, but it's not going to help me as a teenager. To not get agitated. I mean, in the sense, it can't be that my boyfriend or girlfriend has left me as a teenager and this not having desires for toys is helping me in some way. It's not. That is gone.
Okay. Yes. It's context. It is. Thank you. But
Yes,
that is not growth. I mean, that is, does that mean that growth is not out of understanding? That is just natural. You don't have a desire for uh, toys. Is not out of understanding. It is just out of natural process.
yeah, but that point is irrelevant, no, over here. Whatever, by
Hmm.
whatever means and method you grew, the previous part cannot help you now. Cannot help you and
Right.
cannot hinder you.
Right. Oh, because we cannot understand the challenges of that 20% at this level. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, Surekha?
Janki ji, I just wanted a clarification about the conducive environment. Um, isn't the conducive environment also a manifestation of the strength of our desires? Like if you really have a strong desire, you will end up in a conducive environment?
Yes, that's true. But that is when you are the, what should I say, motivating thing. Say you have a strong desire. That means that bud has now already become whatever it has to become. Now it will grow whatever in any which way. So let's say that you had a desire for Vedanta. You didn't know what Vedanta was. You didn't, when I was a teenager, for instance, I knew that there was something I wanted. And if somebody had asked me at that point, what is it you want? I don't know what I want. I'm like, all I can say is not this. I don't want this. And I don't want this. And I don't want this. But what you want? I mean, impossible to do. Because there was no environment that enabled me to do this. Then when I met Swamiji, and then he started talking about you need to learn how to live, these bigger questions of life. And now people are wording or putting into words something that you're being disturbed about. And then you start your whole thing. So your strong desires do take you to your environment, or you can say, when you come to that environment, your strong desires will, like a magnet, hold on to that environment. You can say any one of those things. But that strong desire means it's already become strong, right? That means this budding process has happened earlier. Now it's already a strong desire. Now it's going to push you.
Right. Thank you, James.
All right, so that's it for today. Hari Om.
Thank you.
Hari Om,
Hari
thank
Om.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jataji.
Thank you.